Hello everybody, I'm back again with another video for you today, and this time we're going to be talking about some more cards that have been revealed. As always, there have been, a few ones shown by content creators the past couple of days, and I of course wanted to cover them, give them a little bit of an analysis, as we always do. I will link to the reveals down below if you want to check out any of those content creators, then do feel free to do that. Anyway, let's jump right into it. The first card we have is Dancing Star. This is a neutral special card, 5 provisions, and the effect is destroy an artifact or damage a unit by 3. So for 5 provisions, same as Bomb Heaver, which is just a straight 3-point card, which either is a 3 vanilla or a 3 plus artifact removal. This either has the removal of the artifact or the damage. So you can't get both. Even if you destroy the artifact, you're then not going to get other points elsewhere. What do I think of this? Well, it's probably a better way to design artifact removal, to be quite honest, than what we have in cards like Bomb Heaver and things like Nithrol as well. Basically what I'm saying is, it's cool when the card does something pretty decent. 3 damage is quite good, right? You're able to maybe remove some engine or something. For 5 provisions, maybe it's a bit too expensive. 4 would be a little bit better, for example, but what I'm trying to say is it's nice when the card has a nice effect, and then that effect is kind of brought down or cancelled when it is used as artifact removal. That way, you never feel like you're completely losing out if you're the player playing the artifact and it gets removed. Your opponent is at least, it costs them a few points on that card that would otherwise get them points, right? It just is more of a feel-good way. Both players feel like they're kind of gaining something or not losing everything, as opposed to what we have right now with a lot of artifact removals, which are kind of all or nothing. It's either this amount of points or it's this amount of points plus a ton of extra because you remove the artifact. So I like the design. It's probably not as strong as Bomb Heaver though, just for that reason of, Bomb Heaver has a much higher potential and you can mulligan it away when you don't want it. 3 for 5, even if it is removal, I don't see it being very good, guys. I know people have been saying, oh, it can set up death blow effects and you can kill engines with it. Kind of, but I don't see it being good enough for a 5 provision card when there's other artifact removal you could run if artifacts are a problem. But I do like the design behind it. I think if more of the artifact removal kind of worked like this, then it would be quite cool. Maybe Bomb Heaver could even pull out bombs from the deck. That would be a really awesome thing. Change that so this card could play Dancing Star or play a Northern Wind or whatever. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. But that would be quite thematic, I think, and would get rid of that sort of frustrating sort of gameplay cycle that Bomb Heaver causes. It would also mean that, these potentially tech kind of bombs wouldn't be as bad because you could maybe throw them with a Bomb Heaver. I don't know if that's going to happen. In fact, I imagine it won't. I imagine they won't change Bomb Heaver, but who knows? Maybe later down the line that could happen. That'd be a cool change, I think. Either way, I like the design behind this kind of artifact removal. Not being all or nothing. It's a bit more, fair to both players when an artifact is or is not removed. I do like that a lot. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Northern Wind, we have a 4 provision special here. Damage a unit by 4, and if you kill that unit, you banish it. So kind of similar in effect to the new Regis card, Regis Bloodlust, that was revealed a few days ago. In that death blow banish effect that it has. So kind of counters quite a lot of things. I didn't even mention some of the stuff that get countered by the new Regis and this. Things like Ruin as well. And pretty much like any Lippy deck that you want to run in Skellige, you can maybe just nuke their good 4 strength units or whatever. Is this good? 4 for 4 and a potential upside. I don't think it's too bad. Will it see play though? I don't know. If the average value of bronze is up to 5, 6 every time for 4 provision cards, then I'm not sure this will be good enough. But that effect can definitely wreck certain strategies that are trying to go for carryover or trying to set up their graveyard in some way, right? So it's definitely an option in your deck that you can maybe throw in 1 or 2 just to beat certain strategies, to get some carryover against a Sire Roach in Nilfgaard or whatever. Like, I could see that being okay. Maybe if Beastmaster Skellige becomes a thing, you whack some of these in and get rid of their, beastie boys so they don't get big Beastmasters later on. I don't know if that would be strong though. It seems like a fair card. It seems fair. I've heard people say this is probably too strong, but I'm not sure I see it. Maybe. It depends how prevalent certain strategies are, and this will probably just keep any sort of big graveyard or big carryover focused decks in check a little bit, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, I think, overall. Alright, next up we have Pella. This is a bronze card, of course. Neutral again, and 5 provisions with the deploy effect of Purify Unit. I do believe it also has 3 strength, which is not indicated on the website here, but it's a 3 strength unit with the deploy effect of Purify Unit. Sorry, I'm a little bit blocking that anyway. Purify Unit, how good is that? Is it worth playing a 3-point unit for 5 provisions? So effectively 2 or 3 provisions worth is a Purify effect. Well, definitely, if bleeding is a common thing that you see, sure, why not? If the opponents, you know, or Vitality even as well, if they're trying to get like 3-4 value from that effect and you can Purify it, obviously that's quite good. You can also Purify locks on your own guys, so I don't know, this could be quite powerful. And even locks on their guys. The Disgraced Brawler is a Skellige card that locks itself, right? If you trigger its Berserk effect. So, or rather, if you trigger its Bloodthirst effect, the Berserk, you know what I mean. It locks itself after Bloodthirst to then not have a negative Berserk effect. Anyway, the point is, I don't know, unlocking for that cost is maybe quite good, especially if you're running decks that would be vulnerable to lock, or cards that would be, maybe you're running Okvist, whatever. Nice, like, finisher value cards that can only really be locked rather than removed in other ways. Pella could definitely be good, and this is another one of those sort of, yeah, purification cards that is coming. We've seen the Northern Realms one. I'm not even going to try to say what it's called because it's horribly difficult to pronounce, but whatever. More Purify means potentially bleeding Vitality and that stuff is less powerful, but we'll have to see. If there's, you know, a good balance of Purification units that aren't too strong, then you'll have this kind of back and forth, like bleeding Vitality might be good and then they're bad because of Purification, and then Purification becomes bad and then you might go like that. But I think Purify will be quite good just because it removes the lock mechanic as well, which is quite a common thing for decks to be running, as well as bleeding and Vitality and all that. So, okay. What have we got next? We have the Tucson Knight Errant. This is a 4 provision Nilfgaard card, 2 strength, deploy effect of damage an enemy by 2, and if the target has 6 power or more, then you damage it by 4 instead. So a little bit of a kind of synergy with the Nilfgaardian Knight, right? Maybe you boost their guy with the Nilfgaardian Knight for 6 points. You boost it up to 6 or whatever, and then you two-slot Knight Errant and whack it down. I really like the kind of thematic aspect of that. Some of the Nilfgaard guys are like, you know, boosting the enemies. Some of them are taking them down afterwards. Very cool. Will this be good? I mean, 6 for 4 or 4 for 4 is definitely not bad. I guess it's going to overlap a little bit on cards you might want to run, like Leo and Peter, which are already quite popular. Maybe playing these will make those brick more, especially if there aren't many big units in the meta. So I could see it being skipped on for other Nilfgaardian cards if there are enough good new bronzes. I'm not sure we've seen enough for this not to be played. This does seem pretty good for a Nilfgaard bronze, for sure. Although there are quite a few good Nilfgaardian bronzes already, things like Slave Drivers, the Locks, etc. So I'm not sure you'd be able to fit this in a deck. Maybe. You might even just play these and cut the Leo, cut the Peter, whatever. Probably not cut Peter, but maybe cut Leo and then, yeah, using Nilfgaardian Knights to set these up or whatever you do. Definitely not a bad card. Seems pretty fair. 6 for 4 on a 4 provision bronze is not bad at all. I think that's fair to say. Alright, what do we got next? We have the Dryad Grovekeeper. This is a 4 provision Scoia'tael card, 3 strength. Deploy effect of given allied unit Vitality with the duration equal to the number of Dryads you control. So, a little bit of kind of support, continued support for that Dryad Harmony type archetype that might be a thing. A lot of people have been pointing out the Waters of Brokilon, which of course summons Dryad fledglings. You can maybe use that with Francesca, get a ton of Dryads on the board with Harmony, and then you know, buff those all up with playing dwarves and whatever else. Maybe you do that in a round 3 for a finisher or early in the game to push. Either way, Dryad Grovekeeper maybe works with that idea. If you get a lot of Dryads on the board, 4 from Waters of Brokilon into Francesca maybe or whatever, maybe a few more from hand, maybe you have 4 or 5 you know, of these guys, and this will become a potentially 8 for 4 provision card. I'm not sure I see that being good or like properly competitive, but it'd definitely be a fun deck to try out. And getting Vitality for that many turns is of course pretty damn good. The only downside really is, well, there are a couple actually. Firstly, you know, you can always kill the unit that gets Vitality. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The unit that's given Vitality, if you just kill that, the Vitality points disappear. They don't you know, they don't get put on the board. And they have a lot of turns to react to that, you know, because Vitality procs only every turn. And there's also the fact that it plays into tool removal, of course. So, I don't know how good this whole aspect will be. It's a cool card design for sure, and it's incentivizing that Harmony gameplay, and a Dryad that actually rewards you for playing other Dryads, which I don't think is something we've got yet, because all the Harmony guys are not synergizing with each other that we've been shown so far. So, very interesting. Next up we have Sval Blood Cultist. This is a Skellige unit, 3 provisions. No, 3 strength, sorry. 5 provisions, what am I talking about? Deploy on ranged and heal a unit by 3. If it's still wounded, destroy it. Now, I actually really like this this card design. I looked at it, I was like, that means you can use it on enemies. Aha! So you can use this on enemy units, I assume. If they have a damaged unit that's damaged by 4, right, more than the 3, then you can heal it and then destroy it. So that use of it probably won't be very useful for the Sval Blood Cultist. There's not often that you damage a unit by 4 and it survives. I guess occasionally. And the point is, like, if you're damaging it by 4, is it really going to be more than 2 strength that's left? Most of the time I don't think so. So probably you're mainly going to use this for the healing. Is it well costed? Well, you can get 6 points for 5. There's a little bit of that extra flexibility on it. So if you're doing a self-wounding sort of archetype, and you're damaging a lot of your guys, you're making them go berserk and whatnot, I imagine healing them by 3 might be quite good. You know, there's a lot of pretty high strength berserky boys that we've seen so far. At least a couple. Maybe if you're damaging those and then healing them up after, that'll work and be a pretty okay combo. And likewise if you're dealing a lot of damage to bigger units, which, you know, monsters might be playing still, very possible, then that secondary ability could be quite good. I don't know. I'm not sure this will be played. Cool effect though, and it's quite flexible, potentially in a Skellige deck. I do like the design behind it. We'll have to see if that is actually good. Alright, what do we have next? I'm making sure I don't miss any. We have the Cintrian Royal Guard. This is a Northern Realms card. 5 provisions, 4 strength, and a deploy effect of boost self by 2 for each Cintrian Royal Guard you control. So, a lot of people have been, you know, praising this as the return of the Reaver Hunter, effectively. They synergize when there's more of them on the board. It's kind of like the bonded tag, but not quite the same, because you can maybe have, you know, lots of them and copy them and whatnot. Yeah, it's only the ones that you control, obviously, so not going to count if you're playing these guys in the mirror match or whatever. But okay, this seems interesting. 4 for 5, 6 for 5 if you play another one. So they average out at 5 for 5 if you play them on the same turn, which isn't too bad. What will be interesting is to see if people end up doing shenanigans with Operator, and I'm trying to think what else. I'm sure there's other sort of combos you can maybe pull off with this, where you can, I don't know, play more than you ought to have and then maybe resurrect them or whatever. I'm sure there'll be something going on with this card, because in theory you can get, like, what, 8 for 5? That's pretty good. That's not too bad. If you get them all in round 1, maybe that's not too shabby. There's also stuff like, yeah, Blue Stripe Scout. Maybe you put some in the deck and then pull them out somehow. I don't know. Gonna be kind of janky. I don't imagine that, like, playing around with these with Operator and stuff will be too good, and I also don't imagine just playing them vanilla will be too good, because they're not high enough of an upside for 5 provisions. At 4 provisions you might play these, but 5, I don't see that. So unless there's some kind of janky combos going on with Operator or whatever, I'm not sure that this will be too played, and I'm pretty sure those janky combos won't be good. The upside is just not really there, but it's cool to see that kind of you know, Reaver Hunter type design coming back. Alright, I do believe this is the last new card, and it is Tesham Mutner Sword. It's an artifact with a deploy effect of damage an enemy unit by 4. If it has a shield, destroy it instead, and it has 8 provisions as its provision cost. So is this card good? 4 damage most of the time, and if they happen to have a shielded unit, it gets destroyed. 8 provisions. Okay. I don't know, guys. Even if you kill a shielded unit with this, 8 provisions. You've got to compare that to things like the, where is it? The Curse of the Curse of Corruption. That's the one. 9 provisions, right? Destroy the highest unit. If you're worried about shielded tool units, I mean, I'm not even sure this is that good for what it is. I just don't ever see this being viable in any way, really. Okay, maybe there's some fringe synergies with Nausicaa or whatever. But, I mean, you can say the same of most artifacts. This just seems to be very bad. 4 damage for 8 provisions is awful, guys. Really awful. You can get 5 for 6 on Owl's Thunder, and that's not even good, or considered good. So, it's way too conditional, I think. I mean, I guess this is just to keep shield decks in check. If everyone is playing lots of shields and Watchmen in all their decks and whatever, then maybe you put this in as a counter. Fair enough. I think it's there as just a bit of a check for shields to make sure they're not too strong, not protecting engines and making them unkillable or whatever. But pretty damn unlikely this will ever see play, I think, unless some kind of weird fringe meta occurred where, yeah, everyone was literally just throwing Watchmen and overpowered engines in the deck or whatever. Don't see it being good, but fair enough. I think at more friendly provision cost of like 6 or 5, then maybe you consider running it, but nah, not like that, I don't think. And alright, I think that's all the new cards. Just go through them. Yep, I have talked about all the others in previous videos. Do check them out if you would like to know my thoughts on them, of course. Either way, thanks a lot for watching today, everybody. I'll be back soon with more videos for you, of course, so hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you again next time.